getting back to things and all that. Only on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday this time. It's time for another round of Juneau Community Corner with EFA and Nano Brooks. And gentlemen, I have purchased my very first pair of toe shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, little toes and everything.
Right.
Little flats and all this.
Have you worn them?
Little feet. Yeah, I've been wearing them.
You
and
fan?
I love them.
Really?
I love them.
Huh.
I love them so much.
Interesting.
Yeah, so did a little stress test over at the hospital, so it was the first time I got to wear them. And I was like, yeah, these feel really good. Started walking outside with the dog with the little toe shoes on and everything. Yeah, feeling very hippie.
Right on.
Well,
Country hugging hippie.
our feet have all the same capabilities as being just as articulate as our hands. Sit there one day when you're relaxing and try and independently bend each toe separate from one another. It's one of the most difficult things ever, but if you train yourself to do it and then you do it, it's like, oh, this is easy.
So I can always get the pinky toe to go. I have a little bit more difficty with all the other toes there.
The middles.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got those little toe feet and everything. So finally, I feel like a real outdoorsman now.
Is that
really in touch with nature?
Is that what qualifies for outdoorsy
I
gear?
have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. They just feel good. Taking your live phone calls tonight, Juneau Community Corner. You can join us. Go ahead and light up the chat box there and let us know what you're thinking and what you want to discuss tonight. We got a few topics that we're going to bring up. Of course, we got a little bit on the homelessness issue that's going on here in Juneau, as well as a few changes that the Senate made to their the budget that the House of Representatives put out. We talked about that on the Saturday show. For those of you who don't know, we do a Saturday show. It's a little bit more sophomoric. Usually starts at around 9 o'clock at night. So if you want to join us, that's going to be on the End of the Road podcast, and we have a lot of fun there. So, what do you think, guys?
Well, it's been a wonderful week so far. It's just gorgeous, beautiful weather.
Yeah.
A little more excitement going on in the town. Been seeing all sorts of interesting things, to say at the very least. And just want everyone to be safe out there.
I sweat for the first time at work in about 6 months.
Yeah.
So
it's starting to get warm, man.
Nice out there. Yeah.
Starting to get really, really nice.
Yeah.
Give us a call here at area code 907. What is it?
723 2024
2024.
Yes.
You want to give us a call and talk to us tonight. So, what do we got on the discussion list for
Well,
today?
first up, we're going to talk about Juneau's homeless, particularly the folks that use the campsite that we've got out there. The city sanctioned campsite for people who are experiencing homelessness. It's been shut down, and that's after the warming shelter had closed for the season because of the illegal activity at the Mill Campground and the inability of city officials to find a suitable alternative site. A proposal was floated earlier this year by the city to relocate the campground to the lot next to the shelter, but they tabled it because of a construction project adjacent to the property. What this means is if you're homeless in Juneau, you're pretty much on your own for the summer. And the city has a term for it called I'm sorry, this is dumb. Dispersed camping. The Juneau Assembly has agreed to consider an ordinance at its April 29th meeting authorizing a homeless campground, where the campground will be is still being considered, and according to the decision makers, there are no ideal solutions. According to an article from the Juneau Empire's Mark Sabatini, Mayor Beth Weldon, who proposed the ordinance as recommended by city staff, said dispersed camping isn't necessarily worse than not having a designated campsite.
Oh, man. That, go ahead and give the quote there. It's the quote that kind of gets me.
Yeah, it says, I called around the state and talked to some other mayors, and I was surprised that they all said, we don't do that because if you put them together in a campground, you tend to have much more illegal activity, so I'm willing to give it a try and see what happens.
Okay. Well, that's a very odd decision to be making. Of course, I kind of feel like we need to have areas for them to go to and not just, spread out. I mean, I don't know. That sounds a little harsh, actually. When I think about it out loud.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's a real, a little more coarse way to go about it, and the reasoning and everything. But at the same time, even the mill campground, it didn't have enough capacity for everyone who falls into that houseless demographic, and it's it's tough. There is no right answer, but there is a lot. The state land is open to the public. You have the right as an Alaskan citizen to go use public land, and there is a lot of public land around here, but it goes back to, are we going to be able to provide people with the services needed to tend to some of the issues that arise?
Because and you saw where I was going with that, and how my brain was kind of thinking like, oh, well, we just need to put them all in one little area, like a concentration camp or something like that.
Where they all just be concentrated.
I have to stop and back up and move off of that, because it's like, that doesn't sound very caring. But there needs to be a little bit more of a robust facility, I think, that provides them with more housing opportunities, with more, say, mental health care if they need it, drug rehabilitation if they need it. I think, when a city really buckles down and takes care of the lowest among us, it kind of shows you as a community what you're all about with the members of your community, right?
So, as opposed to just moving the glory hall, getting it out of the eyes of the tourists and shoving them out in the valley.
Well, and
exactly.
Well, like you were saying, Jason, the how you treat the least fortunate within your community kind of can set a tone for the overall grand scale of it. And we're seeing, not the greatest treatment for those demographic of people, and also the city isn't treating the house population with the greatest things either, as far as gouging everyone with taxes and setting up things that
it's tough to get by, even just getting a studio apartment. I remember living over here at the Mendenhall Tower. When I finally got my real job and I was actually able to pay my own bills. But I was barely scraping by even inside that little tiny studio. You remember I was living in that one top floor. So anytime the fire alarm went off, I'm having to go down 12 floors. You can go back up 12 floors.
You upgraded to instead of just not being able to get by, you upgrade to paycheck by paycheck. Upgrade.
But just barely, because, at the time it was roughly about $900 for that studio apartment. I can only imagine that they've risen the rent since then. So I can only, estimate it's probably in around the $1,000 mark.
Right,
So,
that was what, 5-6 years ago, some shit like that?
exactly. So you consider the price of housing here in our community, and it makes it even more difficult, even if you do have a job, even if you are in the best of situations where, say, like you don't have drug addictions or mental health issues or other obstacles that these people are having to go through. So that's why I want to see a much more robust, state-of-the-art facility to really put our effort and energy into that, to really provide them with the services that they need.
If the assembly could come around and give the community something like that, then maybe you can have a new pretty shiny city hall afterwards.
See, I kind of look at that and I say, okay, well, that makes much more sense to me. After we've taken care of issues here in our community, now we can have this really nice city hall. But of course, if you talk to some of the members of City Hall, they will tell you we really need a new location because that building is falling apart.
With addressing those issues head on and trying to tackle them, it's there are precursors of how that gets handled. A prime example is the City Hall. They're going out and looking at new potential venues and everything. And they're talking about having to raise the mill rate to accommodate transferring whatever those older facilities are into a city hall. but there was not one mention of the $15 million that was stashed away in anticipation for the city hall to be built that was voted down. But instead of just tapping into the $15 million they'd already set aside, they're going to raise the mill rate and our taxes again.
Right.
They have money sitting there and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, use that to spruce up one of the schools, to make it the new city hall, and you still might have some left over, and you can start tackling some of these programs that can help the less fortunate populations in the community.
Of course, we're always looking to hear what the community thinks about that, so if you're in the comment section, please leave your comments. We do have the phone number live. You can call in. The phone number is in the description there. We do have an email, junocommunitycorner@gmail.com, if you just want to get a hold of us there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about any of the topics that we're discussing tonight. If you've got some snow tires or maybe, I don't know, an alternator or a new starter for a Honda 2007 Ridgeline that you want to sell. Yeah,
what kind of car do you have?
Nice to wake up on the morning after you pay taxes, and then you have to go to your doctor's appointment, and you crank the key, and it just doesn't do anything.
Yep.
Everything lights up, but nothing else happens.
Gone.
It's like, oh, okay, this is screwed up. All right, folks, let's see. I got a little community event for you here. I have just a weekend to spoil mother when you can have the whole month. That's right. This year, the Glacier Salt Cave and Spa is dedicating the whole month of May for mothers with a very few options to spoil her at her own convenience. May is filling up fast with tourist bookings, so hurry in and get your spot now. Call 907-500-9001 or 907-500-5545 to make reservations. Gift cards use are not available for this special due to the special add-ons and extra services, but you might want to go check that out. Glacier Salt Cave and Spa. Every time we mention something about it, it's almost like, man, I want to go there.
Dude, they got a lot going on there.
Yeah.
A lot of services. That looks nice.
So,
Yeah.
same thing for if you have a local business. We do this completely free of charge, by the way. So if you need advertising, go ahead, email us.
We will hook you up.
Juneau Community Corner
Yep.
at gmail.com, and we'll set you up.
I will go a little shameless here, just so everyone knows, it is Record Store Day on Saturday. It is a national event for all small record shops.
There you
want
go.
everyone to go down to Downtown Disc and Hi-Fi Senpai,
Yeah.
support your local record shops,
Yeah,
and get some
there you go.
excellent music.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. So, you remember riding on these, don't you?
Riding the bus.
Riding
Good
the
times.
Riding the old Cat Trans Clan van. Yep. Well, Juneau residents who ride Capital Transit buses to the airport and UAS and social service providers on Teal Street will need to find another means of transportation beginning on Monday, April 22nd. Last week, the city announced that it would temporarily suspend routes 5 and 6, citing the shortage of drivers and maintenance workers. It's been so long since I've ridden the bus. All I know is the Douglas bus and Route 3 and 4.
Yeah, that was the only three that I really paid attention to.
That's the last. Oh yeah, an express.
Well, and I have experience with the valley routes. In my swim club days, I couldn't always get a ride out there, so I'd take the bus to my swimming classes and whatnot. And, the bus was always very packed,
Yeah.
But these routes are, they're gonna, I'm wondering if, they're downplaying the importance of these routes, though.
They might be. Capital Transit Superintendent Rich Ross said that they hope to restore service as soon as they can to they can fill positions. He said he hopes that can happen before July. He says our maintenance team has been experiencing staffing shortages for nearly 2 years now, so a lot of it has more to do with the availability of the running buses that we have. Out of the 18 buses, I'd say on a daily basis, 3 to 4 of them are down for repairs. This isn't the first time the routes have been suspended in recent years. Ross said that they typically have the lowest ridership for these routes. The UAS sees significantly reduced activity during the summer months, further decreasing demand for Route 5, and similarly Route 6 hasn't been as heavily utilized. This summer, the city plans to start a new tripper bus service to help handle the added demand during the cruise season. It's essentially an extra bus that would allow that would follow the buses that already go from downtown to Minnehaha Valley near the glacier. Ross said that the worker shortages won't stop that new service from happening, but it will scale it down. He says, I think we'll be able to make it happen. Right now, with our fleet size, we just can't do what we want to do.
And it's kind of weird reading that, because it's like we have to take out these buses because of staff and maintenance issues, but we're adding this other bus that's not going to have any issues.
Right.
But it is something that needs to happen.
Yes.
For how the congestion that was happening last year was very apparent, and then all of a sudden we saw it where the community members weren't having access to community transit.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a great idea.
Well, it seems that, how far is UAS from the glacier?
Right.
Not very far.
No.
Why can't they just extend the glacier route that's not the tripper bus to pick up the extra Route 5?
Right.
Extend a route instead of just taking out one completely, you know? It's like you'll have the same amount of staff and the same bus just doing more stops.
Yeah.
And just for anybody who's interested, by the way, if you have experience in maintenance, maybe you want to be a driver, help them out. They are hiring right now.
They have a great
Juneau.org, and you look up employment opportunities. It's all over there right now, and they have great packages.
Yeah, very good benefit package, and a great wage too.
Yeah, let's see, medical, dental, vision, life insurance, defined contributions and retirement plans. Let's see, deferred, 457 deferred retirement plan. Yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff here. I'm just having a hard time seeing it because it's so small on the screen there. But,
Just so much.
Yeah. 21 personal leave days, 12 paid holidays, 6 weeks paid paternal leave, by the way.
That's awesome.
So,
That is very
yeah,
cool.
I suggest everybody get over there to Juneau.org and check out some of their employment opportunities, especially for the Capital Transit line.
The city really does have great benefits.
They do. Anytime someone is asking a job that, and I don't have anything available for them, the city is always offering some sort of awesome signing bonus, always has great benefits, and it's like, it's worth it to go work for an awesome city.
And any,
But
lower tier position you get is basically just a foot in the door,
An opportunity for advancement right away, and they like to promote from within. So
I am curious though, with the buses, I wonder how much that electric bus cut into the funding that could go towards staffing
That
and
thing's still
maintenance.
broken down too.
I was going to do a little bit of research on that, and I didn't have an opportunity to really dive into it, but that was really my first thought of the whole thing is that electric bus was down all the time, and so always having to be worked on. And it's disappointing because you wanted it to work out.
It could have been cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have a missing person here.
Yeah. Missing person alert. Tony Teemanson. He's 6'4" with a slender build. His last confirmed contact was May of 2022. He was known to live at the Sandy Beach Harbor. So if anyone has heard from Tony, please contact JPD at 907-586-0600. I know Tony. You know his sister. We both know his sister. When we were kids, we all used to go to church together. So this really sucks.
Yeah.
It sounds like
2 years is so long.
like all of a sudden I saw the posts on Facebook and it seems like everyone just noticed all of a sudden, where's Tony? We haven't heard from him. Nobody knows where he is. So that's tough.
And, there's so many missing person cases here in Juneau.
Yeah, just here in town.
That haven't been solved yet.
Yeah.
And it's
I think I saw it. Yeah, I think I saw it online recently that someone had done a comprehensive stack of all the missing persons cases going back to 60s and stuff, and there's something like 50 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please, if anybody has any information, get a hold of JPD on that one. And give us a call here. We are taking your live phone calls. Remind me the phone number again. I always keep forgetting.
907-723-2020. 2 full.
Did a lot better on it last time.
It's an easy number.
2024. What year are we in?
Right. What year is it?
It's the 723. I always want to
Yeah.
say 209, but it's
Yeah.
723.
So, Peter Pan Seafoods, one of Alaska's largest seafood plants, announced on Friday that it would be suspending operations indefinitely.
That's another hit.
Yeah, big hit. The company said in the social media post that it would be halting operations at its processing plants and discontinuing both summer and winter production cycles for the foreseeable future. Peter Pan Seafoods is headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, after beginning operations in 1950, and operates 4 full processing plants in Alaska, including King Cove, Port Muller, Dillingham, and Valdez. It also operates 2 additional sites in Sandpoint and Neck, which are subsidiary plants. The company said its King Cove plant is the largest salmon processing site in the state. The company directed Peter Pan employees to apply for job opportunities with Silver Bay Seafoods, another large seafood company in Alaska. Silver Bay is much newer, though. They began operations in 2007 and claimed 6 domestic processing plants in Alaska and the West Coast.
And they're not doing much better from what I understand. So
No, they're not. Silver Bay is based in Seattle, Washington. Friday's announcement comes as the seafood industry in Alaska is experiencing a general rebound from a rough 2020 season caused by the COVID. Last year, Trident Seafoods, the state's biggest seafood processor that owns 11 plants across Alaska, announced major restructuring plans that included the sale of 4 processing plants in the state. In 2022, report published under, I totally missed where I was. In 2022, a report published by Seafood Marketing Institute, 70% of Alaska's manufacturing jobs came from the seafood processing industry.
Can I stop you right there?
That is a lot.
That statistic, people need to think of with a way more broader scope of things. 70% of all manufacturing jobs in Alaska are from these suppliers. These are not Alaskan-based companies, so 70% of all manufacturing out of our state is not owned by our state.
Right.
Alaska has zero GDP. The state owns none of its production. That is not a good thing.
No, it's not. That's awful. Peter Pan Seafoods came under new ownership in January of 2021 with Northwest Fish Company, the Nano Investment Fund, and RRG Capital Management combining to take over operations. Nanook is managed by McKinley Capital Management. So, we
Sad time for fish.
yeah, that's going to be rough. Yikes.
And it's weird, just it's the same trend as the tech industry is like right after COVID is just like all these massive cuts, and now it's happening in seafood. And people within the community, we see that what's happening with the trawlers and the bycatch and all this, and it's nice to see our Congress members, banning foreign trawling, but they're not doing much standing up to domestic trawling,
Right. And Mary Patola there, she's writing their packets too.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope so. That's not a good look at all.
yeah, the seafood industry, man, that's a
That's
bread and butter right there. We're gonna need to have.
Yeah.
And to see all those jobs and to hear like a major company going, well, just go over to the other guys and go apply over there. Well, that's no guarantee.
Right.
That is a very scary indicator. In my mind, it kind of seems like, oh yeah, just go apply for that company, because maybe in their minds they're like, no company is going to survive there, so it doesn't matter where we send them.
Oh, just wait till we get to this next story after this.
Yeah, it kind of ties in to this whole thing about the seafood plants shutting down and the consolidation and some of the people who have been left out of the decision-making process when it comes to that. But let's talk about something a little bit more positive right now. Big Brothers and Big Sisters is sponsoring a free skate at Treadwell Arena coming up this weekend. You could bring a friend It's going to be a fun community event. So again, that's going to be Saturday on the 20th. And it's from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. at the Treadwell Arena. And I don't know how many people have been over to the Treadwell Arena. Fantastic freaking facility.
Yeah,
I gush about them every time I talk about them because the people that are over there and everybody in this community and the way they came together to make the Treadwell Arena. And I don't know how many people have watched a hockey game, a high school hockey game over there. But our high school hockey team is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it has a pretty good sound system too. I know the guy who tuned it up.
It's funny because when I was little and living in Anchorage, we had the ice rink at
The mall,
the
right?
Diamond Center, right? Yeah. And then when we came here, when I was little, I was like, man, I wish we had an ice rink, and now we do, and I don't go.
But it's nice that it's there.
But yeah, it's nice that it's there. It is.
and several people have been utilizing it too, by the way. So, keep that up.
And the staff there are awesome too. Really great people working there at the rink.
907-723-2024 is the number. Juneau Community Corner at gmail.com if you want to send us a message there and tell us what's going on. Doesn't matter what you're talking about, because this is all about you guys. You drive the show on this one.
I'm waiting for someone to call in and start a dad joke war. It'll be on.
Oh, I've got a few in my pocket.
Yeah, we could put up a good fight.
In fact,
Dad joke Wednesday night.
there's one that I've heard that's actually been getting around town now because some rando employee at Fred Meyer tried to bust it out on me, and I hit him with the punchline as soon as he asked, and he was like, oh. He was all disappointed.
Dang it.
So, chiefs in Alaska say that they weren't consulted by the state when it came up with the state's new Chinook salmon management agreement with Canadian officials. Earlier this month, the Alaska Fish and Game and Fisheries and Oceans of Canada signed an agreement to rebuild Chinook salmon stocks. Rhonda Pitka, chief of the village of Beaver, located north of Fairbanks along the Yukon River, said that they had no idea. It was just kind of thrown at us. It was a big shock to me, she says. The agreement places a moratorium on commercial, sport, domestic, and personal fishing. The moratorium will be in place for 7 years, which is the full life cycle of a Chinook salmon. It'll remain in effect from April 2024 to 2030.
Can you say again what all kind of fishings it excludes?
Commercial, sport, domestic, and personal fishing.
I wonder if that also includes commercial trawling.
Right.
Right.
I doubt it.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll be very interesting.
They always seem to get their way. This goal is to allow 71,000 fish to make it to their spawning grounds in Canada, a number well above the 15,000 that made it in 2023. During a Yukon River panel meeting in Anchorage, Alaska last week, the agreement was largely praised by First Nations in Yukon, who have been advocating for stricter measures to help protect dwindling salmon stocks. As most First Nations in the territory are self-governing, they have an equal say as the DFO and the ADFG when it comes to co-managing Chinook salmon. But Pitka, who is a member of the Yukon River panel, said it's a different story in Alaska, where the state is mostly responsible for salmon management. It also doesn't have requirements to consult with the indigenous people on salmon management issues either. It's always been kind of difficult for the administration of hunting and fishing laws.
Why? Why is this not required to consult the indigenous people of the area as to what is going on with their food supply?
Well, and that's the craziest part about it. I was like, sure, it's like do the hold off of 7 years for the commercial fishing industry and the sport fishing industry, but people who use it as subsistence and it's their food supply for years. It's like, what do you expect them to do? It's like that's not very considerate.
I didn't live that lifestyle very long. I was very young when my family did it. When we decided that we were going to move out to Kenai and we were going to live in Soldotna on a little place called Funny River Road, right between Soldotna and Sterling there. Mm-hmm. And we were going to raise chickens. We were going to fish. We were going to hunt. We were going to have our own little homestead. We had 10 acres of land out there that we had purchased. And I was living that lifestyle there for a little bit at age 5 years old. And I can tell you right now, if someone came up to me and told me and my family that, hey, you're going to have to stop fishing for, a few years.
A few. Almost a decade.
I'm almost sure my dad would have laughed in their face.
Right.
That if I was of age, I would laugh in their face and be all like, "That's not gonna happen."
Well, and it seems, and it's happened in multiple different departments of the state and stuff, and I don't know if it's nefarious or intentional, but it seems like there's a ask for forgiveness rather than permission type thing that was kind of held the pace for things a lot of times. And I've heard stories where Fish and Game has planned things that didn't work out as well, that impacted some villages and tribes, and then Fish and Game has to spend state resources and taxpayer dollars trying to make it right, when it's just like, hey, if you just talk to them in the beginning, you could have come to a mutually beneficial agreement, and it went all.
Pitka says that it's not clear why the stocks are depleting, though a combination of overfishing, competition from hatchery fish, habitat degradation, and the effects of climate change have all been linked as contributors. Pitka said that she feels subsistence harvesting will have little impact on the salmon's overall run size. I think that's kind of, if you don't know,
that's fair.
Usually the natives just take what they need.
Well, and it's they're small groups of people. We're not talking thousands of people. We're talking about a couple hundred people who need to eat through the winter.
So it's kind of ridiculous.
It's like
include these people. In the conversation.
At the very least, try and work out some symbiotic agreement that's like, okay, let's crack down on where we know that they're hampering the runs. And it's like, but the people who need to rely on this for food, it's like, we need to make an exception.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and the question here is who's advocating for them right now, and what legally can they do? Because I think if I was a member of any of these tribal organizations, I would be out there. I'd be raising hell. I'd be engaging lawyers and discussing with them what legal options I have to basically tell them it's all like, no, actually, this should only extend to these people over here, these commercial fishermen and these bycatch trollers and everybody and trawlers like that.
Yeah.
And you should leave us the fish for the few years. Okay?
Yeah.
This is, I think that's a little bit more of the balance that I would go about that, especially if you're indigenous and you are working on subsistence, which a lot of these people are in those areas.
Yeah.
So,
Pitka said, we haven't had a harvest in 4 years. Although we've seen the numbers go down lower and lower, there's something else at play here, whether it's the ocean temperatures, whether it's predation or disease. There's other things at play that aren't simple to fix, and that needs attention too, and it feels like the spotlight is just on subsistence fishermen's harvest.
Yep.
I'd be really curious to dig a little further on this, because as far as state departments go, the Department of Fish and Game is one of the largest. There's a lot to it. And I'd be hard pressed to believe that they didn't consult with anyone that is associated with those groups and stuff. But whoever they did associate with or discuss this stuff with, and try to have negotiations on, whatever those groups are, obviously aren't communicating or a part of these smaller rural villages and communities. And that right there should be like, maybe Fish and Game needs to look at a way to be more inclusive to all the peoples of Alaska when it comes to making decisions like this. And, I know that there's lots of fisheries running between Alaska and Canada, hence, the talks of that, but it's like, the talks should be internal with the state first, and then, how can we make it work with the other countries and stuff. But if they gave precedence to Canada over the peoples of our own state,
that's another problem.
It'd be interesting to see. I don't know if that's the case.
Let's see here. What is this?
I had to fix something here real quick.
Okay.
So our audio might be a little bit screwy for the first 30 minutes of the show here, guys.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I got a lot of things I got to delete off of this to make it a little bit more user friendly. Give me just a second here, and I'll flip back over. And here we are, coming up on May the 4th at 9 a.m. Everyone is invited to the annual Blessing of the Fleet at the Alaska Commercial Fishermen's Memorial. This thing is like, of course, gotta bless the fleet, and of course, for a safe return, and then of course,
Gotta give them the May the 4th be with you.
pay honor to those who have been lost at sea as well. So if this is something you would like to attend, everybody is welcome to come out there and attend. Again, May the 4th, 9 a.m., Alaska Commercial Fishermen's Memorial.
That memorial is really cool. I love that memorial.
Don't bring any bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas and boats don't mix.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that the rule?
it's a thing for some fishermen.
Then what's the banana boat?
One that you don't fish off of.
Oh, okay. I see. So on last Saturday's show, we got excited about the new budget proposed by the House. It was a $6 billion operating budget that gave $175 million to schools and provided a $2,300 PFD. Man, that would have been sweet. Well, the Senate has gotten their hands on it, and they made some changes. Their version includes a roughly $1,300 PFD for residents, plus $175 in energy relief check.
Well, cut $1,000 out and then say, well, here's a $5 gift card to
and
to Heritage
and call it relief.
Yeah,
this is going to relieve so much of your worries.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah.
The Senate's PFD proposal earmarks 25% of this year's drawdown on the PFD for the state's annual payout. That is substantially lower than the roughly $2,300 payout passed by the House. The Senate's operating budget chair, Senator Bert Stedman of Sitka, said that the state has been blessed the last couple of years by high oil prices, but Stedman warned that prices won't last forever. Considering world events as they are, yeah, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they'll be quite high for a while.
Yeah, they're gonna spike.
Especially with the breaking news that we heard earlier. Yeah.
Well, and you always see it before primary presidential elections. The prices of oil fluctuate all over the place to either make it look like someone isn't doing anything or someone's doing a whole lot of something.
Yeah. Stedman says, I would suggest that we use a reasonable dividend expectation that can be attained going forward so we don't put ourselves in a position where we have fairly strong dividends and we get up 1 year and there is no dividend. That's what I want to avoid. So he's one of these doomsayers about the PFD. And you know what? If that's the way it's going to go, then that's the way it's going to go.
Well,
just give me my money.
Yeah, that's not the way it's going to go. It's going to go from how it was created, guaranteed payouts to the people of the state, to, okay, no more payouts for people, but we as the state government are going to run everything off of this.
Right.
So it's doing a switch. It's not going away. It's just we're not going to give anything to people anymore,
Exactly.
and we, the government, are going to use it for everything we
Exactly.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silly. That's silly.
Exactly. Stedman and other members of the bipartisan Senate majority have warned in recent weeks that the larger dividend passed by the House doesn't leave room for agreed upon spending on capital projects or recently passed bills. Governor Mike Dunleavy, who has made large dividends a key part of his platform, said on the statewide call-in show Talk of Alaska Tuesday that he'd prefer a dividend above $2,000. He suggested spending a portion of the state's roughly $2.8 billion savings account known as the Constitutional Budget Reserve. Governor Mike Dunleavy on Talk of Alaska Tuesday said that he'd prefer a dividend above $2,000. He suggested spending. That's a repeat. He says, well, the CBR's got money in it too. And during these difficult inflationary times, I think we have to give due consideration to what people are going through. As the caller kind of alluded to, but certainly the legislature is going to make their decisions. And again, I know it's from all indications, it's not going to be a full PFD. hopefully it's somewhere near or north of 2,000 to actually help people.
I know what my homework is going to be for tonight that I'm probably going to stay up way too late researching on.
Yeah.
That CRB, the Constitutional Budget Reserve.
Right.
Just from what I'm seeing on the preliminary, it was made in 1990, well after the PFD was established. So it sounds like it was just a way to funnel out people's payments from them.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll make for some interesting talk this weekend and next week.
Oh yeah, I'll be up to 1 or 2 tonight.
Somewhere north of 2,000. So they took that $2,300, they cut $1,000 out of it, gave you 175 back. So taking $825 of your money and basically saying, got to do it for your own good.
We might need it. We might need it more than you.
On a base level, it is the state's government saying, we know how to spend your money better than you. And this isn't just taxpayer money. This was set up to be all of us citizens' money. Right. And it's the government saying, it's like, nope, you don't know how to spend that. We know how to spend that. Mm-hmm. And, it's in the hopes that it will be to the best benefit of the state and the community. But over the last few decades, we're not really seeing that.
Right. Oh, the things I would change if I was governor.
Well, just being a governor,
I would sling around as much power as I could with these stinking oil companies.
Well, that's the thing. You should aim to be the oil consultant for the state, which makes twice as much as the governor, and it's still a state position.
Well, whoever can swing the most power with these oil companies, I want that guy's job because I would.
It's our job.
We would be getting paid.
It's our job as the people through the Constitutional Convention. We could take it. We could take it.
We would be absolutely getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could happen every 10 years. It comes up for a vote, but those companies say that it would be the worst thing ever for us, but it would just be the worst thing ever for them.
Right.
Sail is going to be having their annual Giggle Cruise in recognition of International Laughter Day. That's coming up on Sunday, May the 5th from 12:30 to 3 p.m. You can get your tickets at sailinc.org or give them a call at 800-478-7245. And I'm not exactly sure what happens on the Giggle Cruise if we're all out there just to
bring your best joke.
Bring our best jokes. Yeah, win some prizes and all that good stuff. I mean, it looks like it could be a good time and everything. So if you want to jump on that, tickets are still available. So you might want to get a hold of them. All right, let's see here. And then, of course, moving on.
Oh, are you guys bummed we missed out on the eclipse? We never get to see the eclipse.
Right. There's been so many amazing celestial events that have happened in the last 5 years that I was like, I'm going to go hike a mountain and make sure I catch it. And then it's just no possible way.
If they don't take place anywhere near our line of sight, we usually miss them anyways because of the cloud cover.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you're bummed out about missing the total solar eclipse in the lower 48 this month, well, start planning now. Because the next total solar eclipse in North America will happen in 2033, right here in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by then, we'll be able to fish for king salmon again.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So there's a really cool astrological event that also happened in tandem with the eclipse, and it's something called the Devil Comet. The Devil Comet passed by Earth, and it is one of the closest, if not the closest object to pass by Earth. The satellites that give us all of our Wi-Fi and cellular communications are in geosynchronous orbit, which is about 25,000 miles above Earth. This comet came in at 18,000 miles above Earth, lower than the satellites that give you your data.
How big is that comet?
It's the size of a football stadium.
Oh, wow. So that could really...
It could.
It could do some damage.
If it had hit us, that could have been a problem. Interesting. Wow, yeah.
But very, very cool that, just kind of, what's up? Peace.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. University of Alaska Anchorage physics and astronomy professor Travis Rector said that the world sees about 1 to 2 solar eclipses a year, but the next one in North America will be on March 30th, 2033. It's going to pass over the northwestern part of the state of Alaska, so the path of totality will be visible in western Alaska, so towns like Nome and Kotzebue, all the way up to
Barrow.
To Barrow. Rector said a path of totality is typically between 50 and 100 miles wide. If you're outside of that zone, you'll be able to notice a change in the sky. However, he said you're going to want to be in Nome and Kotzebue or Barrow to get the full experience. And Rector said that he anticipates areas near those towns will see a high amount of visitor traffic as people will flock to view the eclipse. I, for one, will wait to see it on YouTube and the internets because I'm not going to Nome.
You don't want to go to Kotzebue and
you don't want to go to like
Barrow,
Dead Horse or something.
Yeah, no, I don't care unless it's passing over my house. I'll just look it up on the internet.
I don't know if anybody remembers.
But that's cool.
Back when Comet Hale-Bopp flew by. Mm-hmm. And you could see it during the night. It was just that tail just hanging out there, and it was up there for a few days and everything. And I really have a good time seeing things like that, but I'm not going to travel to see it.
Yeah,
I bought a telescope for that reason.
Yeah,
it's like if it's visible there, I can get a real.
I remember seeing that comet. Our youth group was out messing around at Twin Lakes on like a Friday night or something like that, and we all looked up and saw it and was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Hale-Bopp.
Granted, when Halley's Comet comes back around, I will travel where the best site for that will be.
Yeah.
Because that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, unless you're born right when it was happening.
Mm-hmm. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if hotels in these communities are already getting phone calls, making reservations 9 years in advance. That seems a bit...
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
That's crazy.
There's people out there, man. There's astronomers out there.
I'm going to come see you in a decade.
Well, they were. I saw
save me a room.
There was like a little chart about like the most popular Airbnbs during when the eclipse was happening, and all the reservations were made like over a year ahead of time because all the science people who were really into it calculated it and knew where it was going to be.
Right.
So it's like they knew before they were even saying it. Like, oh, be prepared.
All the
for
hotel
this.
rooms are already occupied by scientists. So
yeah,
the
ones you want are gone.
Right. As it
there
happens,
are smart people out there doing math right now.
Just stay home and watch it on the internet like the rest of us. As it happens, there's already interest in Nome. Leon Boardway works at the Nome Visitor Center and said that he found out about the impending Alaska eclipse from his meteorologist friend of his. No sooner than I had talked to him, somebody called me up and said, we want to come up there in 2033 and see this eclipse.
That's cool.
So if you missed the eclipse in 2033 here in Alaska, you'll have an opportunity for the annular eclipse in 2039 viewable from Anchorage and Fairbanks, which is a much more manageable travel for me. However, I'm not going to go to Anchorage just to see the moon black out the sun.
Well, and just for those of you who are interested, if you miss it in 2039, your next chance will be 2097.
Yeah. So
better make it. Well, and also in Anchorage, you go take a stroll up the hill in that nice neighborhood and get right to the top there, and you just get the beautiful view of the whole city. That'd be a good spot to go watch it.
For a second there, I was going to say Spenard.
Spenard. Go down there to Spenard.
You don't want to go to Spenard
and watch the eclipse.
I already have to go to Spenard for a battle in June. So for a rap battle. So yeah. That's hey.
Enough Spenard.
At least we're going to the Captain Cook next week.
Oh yeah. Next weekend.
Comic-Con. We're going to Comic-Con.
Arctic Comic-Con.
Yep.
We're going to be there. You and I.
Lots of fun.
2 days. It's going to be, we have 907 Pro Wrestling that's going to be holding an event. We've got VIP passes, so we get to skip the lines and go straight forward. There's going to be a few hundred vendors there. So
you guys have
an opportunity to spend some money.
You guys have items that you're trying to get signed by.
We're going to have
we do.
We're going to have Rikishi sign our tag titles.
Nice.
Yes, the legendary Rikishi Fatu will be there as a guest ring announcer for 907 Pro Wrestling, and we have a pair of those tag team titles there that you can see.
We're going to sit front row because we are the tag team champions.
Yes.
So, maybe we'll jump the barricade and get involved or something.
I'm also very excited for this because, we've been talking about it. Got to go get a Whopper. and then we got to float over and go get some McDonald's fries.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got to
That's the
try
only
all
way.
the other fast food places that we got to go to Taco Bell. You know,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
A&W got a pretty good burger there in Anchorage. I like me an
I
A&W
am-
burger.
I am, however, not interested in going to Golden Corral because every stinking time I go to Anchorage, I get dragged to the Golden Corral, and I'm over it.
You have to go to Twin Dragon.
Over
If
it.
you don't go to
Mongolian
Twin
barbecue.
Yeah, Twin Dragon.
Remember
That's
that
everyone's
commercial?
childhood.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was like the only Alaska commercial with Ted Sadler.
And I've said this about 1,000 times already, but Humberto Ramos will be at Comic-Con too, and he is a Spider-Man artist. He did the Spectacular Spider-Men run with the team of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. He also does the Spider-Boy series, which just started recently, and I got a Spectacular Spider-Man #1 blank cover variant for him to do a sketch and an autograph,
Very
and then I'm
cool.
going to get that thing slabbed.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
Super pumped to go
Yeah.
see this and everything.
It's gonna
So
be
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's going to be very cool. So that's what we got for you all tonight. Kind of a decent little show that we had packed there and everything. Again, we'll try to get back to you on Wednesday, barring anything that happens in my personal life again that bumps the show.
Right.
But yeah, Wednesday night at around 8 o'clock is usually when we try to get going on that. And of course, we are taking your live phone call. So if you got anything going on, no matter what's happening in the community, or if you got something that you want to sell and you want to let everybody know that's might want to drop by your garage and pick it up, you know.
Yep.
Give us a call. The number is in the description, area code 907-723-2024. And, of course, you can email us, JuneauCommunityCorner@gmail.com.